To do for you here is look at this function f, and I'm going to complete the square to put it in the vertex form. Now the vertex form looks like this. F of x equals to a times x minus h squared plus k. That's the vertex form of a parabola. So I want it in that form so I can pick out the vertex. Okay? So how you do that is you complete the square on this. So I change the f of x to a y. Alright, then what I do is I subtract a y. So subtract a 5 from both sides. So I get y minus 5 equals x squared minus 6x. I do that because you can only complete the square on these two terms, right? Okay, so now I'm going to complete the square. I take half of this middle term b, so minus 6 divided by 2. I always write this just like that, and I square it. I add it right there, and I add it over there. The reason why I write this out will be evident in a moment. So negative 6 divided by 2 negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. So add 9. Shoot, I wanted to do a different color, but I guess not. Add 9. So I'm adding 9 to both sides. Okay, y minus 5 plus 9 is now y plus 4, right? Equals x squared minus 6x plus 9. Now the whole point of adding the 9 is to create a trinomial square that factors into a binomial square. Now what does it factor into? Well, this is the setup right here. Okay, it's a minus because it's a minus here, and it's in the green right here. It's whatever this comes out to be, negative 6 divided by 2. It's always half of this middle term. So if I wrote this, I just put negative 3 minus 3. So I have the minus already. So I go 3. There we go. I don't have to think about it. Now it's easy to think about it for this one, because what two numbers multiply to 9 but add up to negative 6? Negative 3, right? But for my next problem, it won't be so easy. So that's why I'm showing you that. All right, almost done. Now just subtract a 4. X minus 3 squared minus 4. And now I have my vertex equation. We're going to graph it. So the vertex is 3 comma 4. So I'm going to go over to 3 minus 4, excuse me. I always making mistakes, right? 3 and down 4 and put a dot. Okay, there's 3, 4. And now remember, the axis of symmetry actually just goes right through that, right? So the axis of symmetry looks something like this. Okay, so if I can get one spot to the right or one spot to the left, I have it all figured out. So let's pick another point here. Let's just put in, say, 2, because that's an easy value. I'll go one spot to the left. So if I go back to the beginning and I put 2 in here, so f of 2, all right, f of 2 equals 2 squared minus 6 times 2 plus 5. So f of 2 equals 4 minus 12 plus 5. So negative 12 plus 9, f of 2 equals negative 3. So at 2, I have negative 3 for an answer. But then since of symmetry, right, if I put in 4, I should get the same thing. All right? Then you can kind of go with that, and you can get another point if you'd like. I do have another point, right? Because if I look at this function here, what is the y-intercept? Well, if you put 0 in, that's an easy point, right? A 5 out. So I got this point way up here, but if I have this point, which is 1, 2, 3 to the left, I have 1, 2, 3 to the left, which is there and up. All right, then I can connect the dots. Nice round. It's hard with this pen, but make it round on the bottom, and then up through there. Oops, I'm going through 5. Maybe I can redo that. Since go through 5. There we go. It's a little better. And there's my parabola. So all I did is find the vertex through the vertex formula here. And that was by completing the square. Plot that, pick a point left or right, pick another point left or right. I picked an easy one, graphed a couple points. So that's how you complete the square on a function to put it in vertex form. Let's look at a little bit harder function. All right, this function g is a little crazier. It's got a 3 in front of it. I do the same kind of steps though. I still want to put it in vertex form, right? And vertex form is this time it's g of x, so I'll go like that, equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Okay, that's what I'm trying to go for. The g of x I'm going to change to a y. Y equals 3x squared plus 2x minus 5. Now in the other video you can see that you could factor out a 3. I'm going to do it a little different here. I'm actually going to add a 5 to both sides and then divide by 3. So watch this. I go up here, I add a 5, y plus 5 equals 3x squared plus 2x. And then I'm going to go ahead and divide everything by 3 because you can only complete the square if this is a 1. So divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. Okay, the reason why I do that is that makes my 1 there, right? Okay, then we can go back and write what we have. Y over 3 plus 5/3 equals x squared plus 2/3 x. Now we're ready to complete the square. Okay, now yeah, it's a little tough because I'm going to take half of this and square it, but let's do it. Half of 2/3, remember, half of 2/3 is just multiplying by a half. So let me just show you here and I'll erase it. But 2/3 is just multiplying by a half. That's half of 2/3. So what's half of 2/3? 2/6, right? 2/6 or 1/3. So basically you can make 2/6 or 1/3, and here I'm just going to basically reduce it down to 1/3. So I'm going to erase that. That was my side work, okay? So half of 2/3 is 1/3. Makes sense? 1/3. And now I'm going to square it. And I'm going to add it here and here, right? So I took half of that and squared it. Squaring it is the 1/9, so I'm going to add a 9th, and I'm going to add a 9th. Alright, so let's do that. Change it back to my red. So 5/3 plus 1/9. Okay, you can go back to a calculator, or I'm going to do it scratch work here. 5/3 plus 1/9. I need ninths, so I'm going to multiply by 3. So that's really 15/3, right? This whole thing now is 15 ninths. 15 ninths. So 15 ninths plus 1/9 is 16 ninths. Okay, that's what this is up here, 16 ninths. Alright, I'm going to erase it because I don't have a lot of room here, but 16 ninths, that's side work or calculator. Y over 3 plus 16 ninths equals. Now let's write what it equals. Putting this all in here. Remember, it's half of b. What's half of b? Well, sitting in the green. I don't need to think about it. I don't need to think about what numbers multiply to 1/9 that add up to 2/3. That's too hard to think about. It's always half of this middle. Half of this middle sits right here, so it's 1/3. That's what this trinomial factors into right there. Almost done, right? Basically what I need to do now is subtract the 16 ninths to both sides. So I'll move this down a little bit, subtract the 16 ninths, and then get rid of this 3. Minus 16 ninths, minus 16 ninths. Y over 3 equals x plus 1/3 squared minus 16 ninths. Last step, multiply everything by 3. 3's cancel. 3 cancels with the 9 and makes a 3. So here we have the final answer. It was a long job here. Y equals 3 times x plus 1/3 squared minus 16/3, right? 16/3. Now that is the equation in vertex form, and we can pick out the vertex to be a minus 1/3, right? Got to take the opposite. What makes this 0? And negative 16/3. That's the vertex. Now let's go graph it. That's the hard part of the whole mess there. You can rewind and go through all that. You do each step. It's very important to, put this part right here. Half of that number is right here so that it's easy to get in there. But you can refollow all this stuff. But that's the vertex, and now I can go ahead and graph it. So let's move up here, and negative 1/3, negative 16 thirds. So I'll rewrite it, negative 1/3, negative 16 thirds. That's the vertex. Let's see if I can find that. Negative 1/3. And what's negative 16 thirds? Negative 5 and 1/3, I think. So negative 1/3. So I just have to estimate and then go down 5 and 1/3. So right about there. Okay, that's about it. And then it crosses the y-axis at -5. So that's another point right there. That's a third over. So I'm going to go a third over there, and it's up there. Not a very good point, but at least it's giving me something. And then let's pick 1. Okay, let's just put 1 in there, because at least 1 is 1 unit over. If I put 1 in, it's 3 plus 2 minus 5. That's 0. Oh, that works out nice, right? Right up there. And then if you put in negative 1, you should get the exact same thing, right? Oh no, I'm over. Oh, I'm sorry. I went over. How far? I put 1, so actually I went over 1 and 1/3, so I'd have to go over 1 and 1/3, not negative 1, but over 1 and 1/3, negative 2. If I put negative 2 in there, 3 times 4 is 12, minus 4. Something's wrong here. Okay, so if I put in 1, I put in 1 in there, I get exactly 0. 3 plus 2 minus 5 is 0, right? Now I put it, that's choosing 1. That's a nice number. Now let's look how far I'm actually over. I'm actually over 1 and 1/3, right? So I'm at a third here, so 1 would be 2/3 and 1/3. So I got to go over 1, that's 1 and 1/3, and over another third. So negative 1 and 2/3 should be right there. So that was a little tough. Not the easiest one to graph. Probably never graph one like this tough. The main thing is this showing, can you complete the square to get it in vertex form, which is right there, right? Can you get it in that form, and can you get the vertex out of there? So pretty challenging to graph. I'd probably use a calculator in that aspect. Let's check out what the calculator looks like. So here's the calculator. Calculator shows the negative 1/3 minus 5/3 that we have right there. It shows the 1, 0 right there. And this is really messed up, but it shows the minus 1 and 2/3, right? 1 and 2/3 where I was at. And that's supposed to be 0. It's just so close because of this round off error. There's some error there, but that's 0 also. So there we go. We graphed it correctly. It wasn't the easiest thing, but that's how you find the vertex form of a function when you need to complete the square and it's messy, and graph it.